My name is Ruedi Hofmann. The exhibit is Pivotal, which is a portrait exhibit that uses LivePortrait to allow people to engage and enjoy the portraits that are here in a way that they've never experienced. I am a still commercial photographer, and I've done some motion. I've worked as an advertising photographer in New York City for longer years now than I'd like to say. And it's a different world, so times have changed, and I think there's a lot of different technologies, and I think I'm able to continue to work, create, because I've been fluid in the way that I use or incorporate things or learn from. But also it becomes nice at some point to feel like you're doing something of value. And that happened in the spring here. I realized we've moved out into a small town that's kind of in a transitional situation, more like to make it simple, like a little Detroit. It was a great city and is struggling to become one again, and I think that it truly is at this point. It's becoming. And what I realized when I was looking out my window, look out over the Hudson, that there are two people that walk by every day, Fred and Nora. They're retired and they live in the neighborhood, and they walk through the neighborhood every day picking up trash from the street. Conversely, there's a new city manager that had come in, a new form of government. There's been a lot of talk about, there's always a lot of talk about government, but here in Newburgh, it's had a history of issues. This person seems different. He asks questions, he listens, and it seems like he has a different approach to understanding a community, an intelligent approach. So I thought, you've got Fred and Nora who pick up trash, and you have this new city manager, and it's like a bulb went off. It's like, so who else is doing something here? So I started to ask questions and meet with people. I met with church leaders, community leaders, government, and put a list together of people that I thought were working to make change. At some point I got a little discouraged because in this town is about 3 square miles. So it seems like a simple project. You have a few people. I had over 120 people on the list. So then it became a matter of, it takes time. Figure an hour a portrait, et cetera. There's a Swiss side of me, there's a pragmatic. You've got to figure out, what the workload is. So I had to make an edit and make a selection. So it was these people represent all of the people that are doing things. But in this project, because it was personal, I decided to not think so much about what it is, how I would do something, but just react to. Because I wanted to get portraits that had an emotional content, and you got a sense of who it was. In order to do so, I wanted to have a video, a film. And so the final setup was to have a still picture, a motion picture, and then a sound recording. What happened, the sound was like a throwaway, but what happened in the sound was a revelation as we were doing it, is because I realized the content that we were getting. And the whole project changed on the motion. And the motion that was supposed to be little sound bites, elevator treatment, became material for a film. So after the fact, now starting to edit. And I like communication. I need to react to communication, as will comment. It's like I like to fight windmills. So out of that, when I've talked about it, there was a creative director that lives nearby. I said, we shot the film and we're going to have the gallery show. He goes, oh, Ruedi, people don't look at film in the gallery. It's like, it was a little, I had already done the film, so it was a little discouraging. But at that point, I was sent an email from a friend that said, have you seen this thing? I don't know what it is, but it's this app. I think it's called LivePortrait. You should check it out. And so I immediately went on and looked it up. And it seemed like the solution. What I thought from it was this ability, or what I'd hoped, and is what's happened, is this ability to have a still picture that connects with emotion. At the same time, while you're in the world of still, you're looking at motion and you're getting content. From the beginning, the app was brand new. I had seen it, and the applications had been for yearbook. I saw this as as a solution to showing the pictures. And when I was meeting with people to discuss ideas and maybe presentation, and I had a little dummy book. And what's funny, what typically happens is that people will just go through a book very quickly. But I would show them the app, and they would, it was really great. they would go through, I said, no, look at this picture with it. And it would bring up the video. And then suddenly, I had to almost ask people to leave because they're there for an hour going through every picture, looking at every video. And I've seen the same thing in the gallery, is that each person is able to go up to a picture. If a picture interests them, what's cool is that with the app, they allow themselves to engage at that moment with that subject. And because you're holding it, it seems you have more of a connection. You hear the volume through your phone, and it's your phone volume. Or some people had headsets. But because you've chosen it, because you're holding the phone, you have a very personal experience with that you wouldn't get from watching the film. And that's been extraordinary to watch people kind of go slowly around the gallery instead of a quick shuffle through. So it really solved the problem for me of that a film would have to be a separate presentation to the exhibition. So what I did, the portraits were all done as video vignettes. So they're now linked. So as the gallery show, which is done in a size that has a scalable, so you feel like it's scaled where it's more one-to-one when you look at something. That's why they're big, so you feel like you're being introduced to. And what I've seen with the pictures on the wall and also with the book is that people will engage them in a different way, and they get content and emotion from them because of the linking of the information. They've bought books that I've left here. I'd hoped they would buy books, but they've bought books asking, will this thing work when I take it home? And so they get to look at the still picture at home, they look at the video, it brings them to the bios in the back. And it's really been curious, is I've had a lot of people come back to the gallery. I've had a lot of return visits. So as you can see, I mean, we're in a transitional neighborhood here, on streets that people don't typically walk down. And not one person who has come here has commented on, oh my God, I've survived, or they've all just kind of come in and welcomed the experience. So. The opening, you don't know. You know, and I'm, as I've said, I'm a commercial photographer. I'm not an artist that does gallery exhibitions. So I thought, you know, it's been a lot of involvement in the space and so on. And because it's 50 plus people, it's like, well, we'll get at least half of them to show up. So maybe it'll be 25 people. I was really stunned and pleased at the opening that both rooms were filled, inside and outside. But what was so funny that evening, but afterwards, people would come back and say, you know, I really felt like I had been introduced to and met the people that were here. There's a community that's built. Because what was funny is that a lot of the people that I photographed were here, and other people that were here didn't know them. But because of the app, because of the picture combined with the app, they got the information, the knowledge, but they also got the personality of someone through film, that they felt because of the app that they were more committed, more connected, and had an introduction to the people of this community, and it connected them to the community. That's right. The pictures were, I think what I'm seeing is that we all have our attention spans, and I certainly feel I don't want to be in an experience, I personally don't want to be led. I think the responsibility is to engage someone because of the content or through material. And what was a conscious decision because of the app was that all the pictures that are there, there's not one single name or name tag or any information, because hopefully the portrait has a feeling of presence. But more importantly, by not putting down a tag on it, is that by downloading the app, it brings up the film, which has all the titling, the person introduces themselves, and it gives them the information. The project feels that it's been successful. There's been a lot of positive comments. There's people that have come back. And there are things that I've learned from it that I would like to try to move forward. And it's already been discussed that there's another city that would like to have a pivotal project. And they want to rush it along. So hopefully by the beginning of next summer, it's a nearby city. And I think what they saw here with the engagement of still with the LivePortrait app, they feel that they can help their community to kind of do the things that are happening here in Newburgh.